Thank you. Thank you very much, brothers and sisters. Thank you very much, Sister Shanti Budram and Brother Gautam Maharaj, chairpersons of this evening's proceedings. A very warm welcome to the Lion's Den on a very big pavement in Oropouche East. Good night, good evening to the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa and members of her family listening to our program this evening, following with great enthusiasm and support and best wishes. Good evening to all assembled at this meeting, and we have hundreds and hundreds. It is a sea of blue and yellow before us. Good evening and welcome to all my parliamentary colleagues. Good evening, welcome to the Mayor, I believe, of Siparia, the Mayor of Chaguanas, members of the local government fraternity. Welcome to our international viewers and supporters. We are now live in Florida, in New York, in Canada, in Europe, on several social media platforms and television, of course, in Trinidad and Tobago and abroad. Special welcome to our great brother in Canada, Mr. Norbert Sukram and his family, who are tuning in every single week to every single UNC meeting. I want to welcome as well my sister from Canada is here. Welcome to Sindra Mohammed and her husband Fazan are here visiting and in a UNC meeting, I believe, for many years. They haven't been here for many years and certainly not to a UNC meeting, so I want to welcome them warmly. Brothers and my own brother, of course, Michael, who is more familiar to many of you. We can report now that we have online viewing this meeting, 4,000 live views online. So it is a more successful pavement report. And brothers and sisters, I want to acknowledge the speakers who came before us. Give a warm, warm round of applause to the next Member of Parliament for San Fernando East, Mr. John Alibocas Maka. And I want to tell him I fought San Fernando East. We came close, but you will not come close. You will defeat that young man in San Fernando East. The next Member of Parliament for the constituency of San Fernando West, the Honorable Dr. Dowlat, Michael Dowlat is here. Give him a round of applause. Mr. Richard Smith. And that constituency is where there's somebody loitering there now. Is it the WPC? Camille Robinson Regis. We want her out of the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. And Richard Smith will do that. We have other candidates, of course, appointed as candidates of the UNC already. Mr. Devish Maraj, Mr. Wayne Sturge working very hard. A sister, Dr. Maraj, I believe, in Lopino Bonnet, is it? Appointed. Brothers and sisters, we have several more candidates that will find their way very soon as we continue the screening process. So we are very confident. As Brother Saddam Hussein spoke to you after, I want you to welcome Saddam Hussein to Debe. The brilliant Saddam Hussein gave you a lecture in law and politics this evening, and he has emerged as one of the most fiery and bright and eloquent speakers in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. Our warrior princess spoke earlier, Michelle Benjamin, a social activist and dynamic woman. And of course, I complain every time they do this, I complain, but nobody will listen to me because it is very difficult, it is getting very difficult now to speak after that firebrand, to speak after the Member of Parliament for Princess Song, the Honorable Barry Padarat. But we have to speak, we can't give up. So brothers and sisters, we have had a great platform this evening. This is what the pavement report was meant to be. Fire, fire, heat and fire. against Rowley, against Stuart Young, against all of them because they are one and the same. Don't forget Stuart Young, Rowley, Dale Singh, Hines, all of them, all. They are the ones that took the decisions that caused suffering to the people for 9 continuous years. It was not Rowley alone. It is Stuart Young. Stuart Young, as Saddam suggested, Stuart Young is Rowley mini-me. That is he, mini-me. It is in the likeness and image of that leader. Stuart Young is the mini-me. I don't know about the zombie business and so on too much. But I know about the mini-me. He's the mini-me, brothers and sisters. And Barry is right. He is the image of the leader, crass, without decorum, protocol, without brought-up seat, to use that term, brothers and sisters. That is why Rowley has seen something in him. He sees himself in Stuart Young and has imposed them on the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And Barry told you, I won't repeat at length that business. If he becomes Prime Minister, we will kick him out. But he will end up being kicked out. He may be sitting in the opposition if he wins a seat. He could be sitting in the opposition as an MP with a monthly income of a pension of 87,000 TT dollars. But let me give one even more ugly. Well, I shouldn't say ugly. Let me keep my letter. Even more disturbing. Would you believe every time you travel in Piarco International Airport, you going through the atrium there, this big wrong place, and you have to see Stuart Young picture every time you're leaving? Some of you might leave and don't come back. They have all the former prime ministers there. That fella picture could be there for the rest of your children's life. So it is more disturbing as that. And in other places, government, state institutions and so on, brothers and sisters. But the point here is that they went to Tobago and said, who want to be prime minister? Raise your hand. And 2 people raised their hand. That was narrow. Stuart Young went by some hand or pulling straw or some cup or something like that. You don't elect prime ministers like that. A prime minister must be elected by the people. He or she must represent the will of the people. Not in a back room in Tobago by raising hand and pulling straw. The people must appoint you. If Rowley had a decorum of decency, a commitment to democracy and the rule of law, he will say, well, I done. Let's go to the polls. And whoever the people choose, they choose. Correct? But he wants $87,000 and he wants Stuart Young to get $87,000 too. So their plan, there's a day in the carnival season, only know a day called Fantastic Friday. They want on Fantastic Friday, 2 of them end up in the pocket with $87,000 at the end of February. And they will write off from government. We will have the responsibility of fixing and repairing this country while the taxpayer, you, get them $87,000 each per month for the rest of their lives. That is where we have reached. That is the problem. Because the government has collapsed, brothers and sisters. They have collapsed in office. Today, I tell you, which prime minister in the world, all you're following news and so on, which prime minister does declare a state of emergency on Monday and resign by Friday? He declared a state of emergency and he said, gone. Now he cussing the police. He's the leader of the government, you know. He said police taking off the light and hiding in police station. Did you see the newspaper a few hours ago? Earlier Christopher come and said that is not true. They're not taking off the light and hiding. If they take off the light, it's a better see outside. That is where we have reached. But it is Rowley, it is Stuart Young. They are the ones who impose Earlier Christopher and all the deputy commissioners of police. Not me, not Kamla Prasad Bisasa, not the UNC. They put the management of the police, and now crying police taking off the light. That is where we are. The government has collapsed in office, brothers and sisters. They don't know what they are doing. They call the state of emergency. I want to show you 2 headlines. You will see it on the live feed for those viewing. Monday headline, Hines say criminals on the run. Like Hines, you know. Monday. Tuesday, Rowley say cops hiding from criminals. Now I want to tell you something. The only person on the run is Hines. He running from Water and Akash Samaru. That's who he running from. But they don't know what they are doing. One say criminal on the run, the next one say cops hiding from criminals. That, brothers and sisters, is the sorry state of this country when Rowley has abdicated his responsibility. This is a soap opera, an episode from a soap opera you are watching here. Every day is drama from the government, as if they could take attention away from the issues we are raising. Pension, poverty, unemployment, economic decline and collapse. Brothers and sisters, Rowley has given up. And some of you happy, I know when he resigned the other day and he said going, there was wild celebration. The people of Debe say, that is the end of a gra. The gra end. I said it was the end of many eras, not the end of an era. So brothers and sisters, I know you were happy, but Stuart Young is Keith Rowley. So we are out of the woods yet, you know. Stuart Young is Keith Rowley. They are together, two of them, brothers and sisters. It is time to end the suffering. For 9 years, coming on 10, they dig out your eye. They take the curry from your leaf. For 9 years, now they switch leader and they say, okay, we refresh now. We're coming back fresh, new. Team what? Team PNM? They copy that from the UNC too. It's the UNC who campaigned with Team UNC, correct? The UNC had Team UNC. Now they want to say Team PNM. While they were fighting and cussing last week over which team they're supporting. Brothers and sisters, we cannot allow this to continue. I want to indicate to you that this country is crying out for change. This country is crying out for hope. This country is crying out for renewal. And there is only one political leader that understands the mood of this country, that understands the aspirations of the people, that identify with their pain, and that leader is Kamla Prasad Bisasa. Brothers and sisters, Mrs. Prasad Bisasa has the experience. No, has the experience. She has the track record. When she served, she commanded men and women of great expertise and skill and competence, and she led the most progressive government in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. And she will do it again. I want to tell you from the beginning, a vote for any other political party is a vote for the PNM. I want to remind some of you who are not as young as you look. In the year 2000, the Basdeo Pandey administration fell. In 2001. Do you know a fella up in Tonapuna, he got 189 votes. You remember that? And an entire government went with 189 votes. So think of that carefully. I will remind you in St. Joseph, there was a by-election that brought in this Dr. Det. A candidate in that election got 500 votes. And the Alsing slip in. And he never slip out since. He slip in. Think of that. A vote for any other political party except the UNC is a vote for the PNM. And keep that in your mind as we continue with our campaign, brothers and sisters. I want to remind you as well, before I come to a matter of the SOE, brothers and sisters, as we say on this platform, when the UNC wins, everybody wins. Everyone, all in this society. Don't forget, while they are increasing their pension to $87,000, it was a UNC government that converted a grant to a pension and raised the pension for the elderly. Not once, but twice. To my knowledge, that pension has never been increased since we demitted office. It is Kamla Prasad Bisasa who raised the pension for the elderly, not once, but twice. We asked him, he does spend half the time half awake, and the next half of the time half asleep. We asked him, how much people you detain? They have not detained anyone. They say one they detain, but not in a detention center. So where detain him? In Guantanamo Bay? Where did you detain the person if he's not in a detention center? You follow that story? The commissioner of prisons said no one has been detained. Hines said one person detained. So where they detain him? In Balize house? Where they detain him in Balize house? So brothers and sisters, they are lying. They are lying. That is why police are saying now SOE means criminals still organizing everything. Criminals still organizing everything, SOE. That is what they are telling us now. They have nothing to show for the state of emergency. 14 murders in 14 days. Nobody detained. The prison, I don't want to take too much time reading. I did it yesterday. Officials of the Prison Officers Association are saying at Carrera, which is a detention center, the boat not working. Well, with this PNM, no boat working. Man, if they were in charge of the love boat, nobody in love. They cannot manage any boat. No boat working to take prisoners to and from Carrera. In Carrera, there's no dormitory, proper facilities for prison officers. At Golden Grove, they are telling us the alarm is not working. The alarm, look, in a prison, the alarm is not working. That's not in your car. There's a prison. The alarm is not working. It has mold. The roofing has problems. The roof falling down in the prison. And Hines said, to my knowledge, everything good. Everything good. Now, there's a fella who bounced down a dog and don't want to take responsibility for bouncing down a dog. You think he can take responsibility for the highest murder rate in the history of this country? So, brothers and sisters, that is the state we are in. And while we are in that, I come now to what I want to really raise with you. And you will be shocked. Brothers and sisters, you all will recall, but before I go there, another lie they are putting in the public domain, brothers and sisters. Another lie. They are saying that the UNC, they have this irritating regurgitation of rhetoric and lies. That sounds good, huh? Yeah. It's an irritating regurgitation of lies. And the UNC, when we leave, the treasury was empty and running on what fumes and so on. I tell them when we go back there, we have to get a cobweb room because the treasury have cobweb in it. It has nothing inside it, it's cobweb. We left the Heritage Stabilization Funds, I have the documents in my hand. We left with how much billion? 12 billion United States dollars. Multiply that by 7 quick somebody. That is over 80 billion Trinidad and Tobago dollars. We left the Heritage Stabilization Fund. Today, the Stabilization Fund has less than 50 billion TT dollars. They have, and that is if they were supposed to be putting money in the fund. The fund is not supposed to be stable. They have made, MP Tanko I think sent me the documents today. They have made 11 drawdowns, Mr. Tanko. 11 drawdowns on the Heritage Stabilization Funds. 11. Totaling, hear this one, totaling, 7 trees, 21. Totaling almost 21 billion Trinidad and Tobago dollars. They put their hand in the cookie jar and take 21 billion TT dollars from the Heritage Stabilization Fund. And then they say, we're managing the economy, things going good. It's going good because you're taking money from the Treasury and the Heritage Fund. That is it. We left them. Brothers and sisters, when they were drawing down this, we have all the dates. From June 2016 to June 2024, they took 21 billion Trinidad and Tobago dollars. They cannot manage anything. The Imbert and Rowley and Stuart Young, they will borrow money to eat food. You ever go to buy barbecue and you ask for the next year, you're going to lend me $40? Because you don't have money to buy food. That is how they are running this country now, borrowing money to live. It will take a government of Kamla Prasad Bisesa and bright men and women, finance, economics and so on, to return this country to growth and to revenue. Brothers and sisters, I want to deal for a few minutes. If you all will permit me, I want to deal with this fella called Stuart Young. You all will permit me to do that? Before? I think I just need to wet my throat before I do that. This fella Stuart Young, anointed as Prime Minister by Keith Rowley. If I ask any one of you, name one achievement of that guy in 9 years as a cabinet minister. Anybody can name him? I think I just need to wet my throat. If you hear Tim Gopi sing, You say 100 schools. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, Prime Minister. Watch the plaque out there. It is Kamla Prasad Bisesa who built the school you sitting down in tonight. She built here under the Pandey administration. You hear? I mean the videos of it. You hear water. You think of the minister in charge of water, how much water we run for people. If you think of health, you think of Dr. Bodo, you think of Fuad Khan, for example, and you say Hoover Hospital, San Fernando Teaching Hospital, Point Fortin Hospital, Arima Hospital, all hospital. Wage negotiations, well, you must think are embarrassing. Errol McLeod, you say 135 wage negotiations solved. You think of social development, you say, oh, the baby grant, UNC, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, increase pension, increase the grants for people. Huh? Minimum wage, UNC, Kamla, we increase that. You think of that? You think of our next ministry. Sports, you think of the cycle velodrome. You think of that. If you say housing, you think of who? You might think of nobody. You think of Jolene John, deputy leader, delivering housing, building houses and so on, with a little help from yours truly. So you have ministers. You think Stuart Young, what you think about? He was in front Queen's Park Oval with a bullhorn, talking to the Venezuelan people coming here illegally and giving instructions on a bullhorn. That's what you remember, you know. He created this crisis with the illegal immigrants from Venezuela. That is Stuart Young's legacy. Today, all the problems we face related in some manner to that illegal stream of migrants. It is Stuart Young who created that as Minister of National Security. You know the one I just remember he for? Badly? Well, two more are coming too, but one, during the height of COVID, when your mother, your father, your brother, your sister was abroad, he locked the borders and left your family stranded abroad. Huh? Bring in Rich Nelson. Delcy, yes. He bring in, that was Nelson. He bring in Delcy Rodriguez, sanctioned by the United States during COVID, but left your mother and father and brother and sister stranded in Barbados, begging Mia Motley for food, for water, for accommodation, which she gave, and we are thankful to her to this day for helping citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. There were people in Canada, in the United States, who had to live on the street, spend nights in train station, in subway station, because Stuart Young locked the border on a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. That's the fellow who wants to be Prime Minister. But the one that touches our heart is what Barry raised, and I will not dwell too much on it. It was February 2022. Stuart Young was the Minister of Energy. And when I visited that scene on the Sunday night, I went on Sunday night with some of my colleagues here. Our brother, Dupre, you were there. He's in the audience now. Former Petrotrin employee. He was there. And when I landed there, I saw the lack of leadership. I felt it in my bones that there was no leadership. There was no government direction. They did not give those families a Crick's biscuit, a bottle of water. They gave nothing. The next day, some of us MPs of the UNC ordered food for the families. Had Kamla Prasad Bisesa been Prime Minister, brothers and sisters, she would have fly down from wherever she is, Port of Spain, San Fernando. She would have reached on the site with her Minister of Energy, National Security, and demanded that they do something. Knowing her as I do, she would have told us, go and take a Caribbean airline jet and fly in any technical people from any part of the world to ensure that they arrive there and save those people. The PNM did nothing. They allowed that situation to develop and end in the most horrible, the most tragic ending of any crisis in the in any industrial site in Trinidad and Tobago. That is it, brothers and sisters. And brothers and sisters, a few months ago, I believe it was in September, I asked a question in the Parliament. I asked Stuart Young to tell us, brothers and sisters, how many times he went to Venezuela. When he went to Venezuela, who he met, officials. When he went to Venezuela, who he took with him. When he went to Venezuela, how much each trip cost. Well, the fella run and hide. Man, he hide in September. He hide in October. He hide in December. The speaker had to write a letter to him. Look, the letter here. telling him, Mr. Minister, you have not answered this question. I demand reasons for the delay in answering. We are now calling it the infamous question 9. It is the question 9 of the century. Anytime you hear question 9, it is question 9. It was filed. Why did you not answer question 9? She asked him. I appreciate, please tell me. The letter is dated December 12th. Well, we waited, and finally, we got something resembling a response. I have the response in my hand. Let me say, it is now a public document. It is not a private and secret document. This is the response. And there's a reason why they didn't reply. You see, let me just tell you what I asked, so you keep it in mind. The number of occasions on which Stuart Young traveled to Venezuela, the official agenda of each meeting, a list of all officials in attendance at each meeting, cost of travel, accommodation, hotel, wherever that is, right? My brothers and sisters, would you believe between August 2022, according to them, now you can't believe everything they say, but according to them with this, between August 2022 to June 2024, this gentleman, Stuart Young, spent $1.2 million traveling to Venezuela. Now, Venezuela, if you go to Cedras, it's 10 minutes away, and if you go to Piaco, it's 45 minutes away. He goes to Venezuela August 5th, 6th. Now, that is one day, that is a night. When you say 5, 6, a night. He goes with Commander Alden Jasper. That fella is a military attaché in Caracas. What he going to a meeting for? To discuss energy matters? Would you carry the military attaché? But you know what they did here? This is a farce. It is inaccurate. It is not full. It is not a full account. And it is still hiding. It lacks accountability and transparency. Huh? It is skimpy like that bikini and swimsuit that Saddam spoke about in Tobago. I know he's trying to chill up your spine when he mentioned that. And for all the answers, for every trip, they give the same answer. What is the reason for the trip? Here the reason for the trip. They give the same answer for everything. Huh? The minister went to negotiate matters related to the energy sector. He gone to every meeting to do that. And he carried the military attaché. One night cost them $32,000 in August 2022. February 6th, he went for a day. Now he goes with an interpreter and so on. I understand she is a public servant. We don't want to call her name and so on. He goes for one day, February 6th. One day, $40,000 for one day trip to Venezuela. Military attaché. February 22nd, 23rd, 2023. He goes, but there's a night again, 22 to 23. $54,000 for the one night trip. March 13th, 15th, 2023. The same Stuart Young military attaché, $89,000 to spend a day in Venezuela. $89,000. It continues, 48,000, 105,000, 100. No, this one is nice. Listen, November 2nd to 4th. Now, 2nd to 4th of November 2023 is a night. If you spend the night, you spend the dates already 3rd, you spend one day. So you travel on the 2nd, you come back on the 4th. The 3rd, you know what's the cost of that? They carry permanent secretary as well, I think, yes. $137,000 to spend a day in Venezuela. What is this man doing in Venezuela? And in this answer, he cannot name the officials who he met in Venezuela. Tonight I asked Stuart Young to tell us, is it that he is prohibited by the government of Venezuela from naming anyone he meets in Venezuela? Did Maduro tell him that he cannot disclose the names of any Venezuelan officials that he meets in Venezuela? And that is why they cannot tell us who he met. Who you met in Venezuela for all these trips, they cannot and will not say. Because half of the people he meet arrested and the next half sanctioned. So he can't say nobody now because America looking for all of them. They put a bounty on Maduro, I think it's 25 million United States dollars for his arrest and conviction. They might put one on Stuart Young. And this time, Stuart Young, if they put a bounty on you, is not a penny. It won't be a penny. This time it might be a little more. Brothers and sisters, I go on November 29th, 30th, 2023. Now, the fella went November 20th, 2023. You know he gone back on the 29th? So he comes back to Trinidad, change his clothes, and he gone back to Venezuela. Here the cost of that one now. He went 29, 30th, 2023, $40,000. That is where he went. But I have one that really struck me, you know. I don't know why it struck me. December 21 to 22. That's just before Christmas, huh? 21 to 22. That's you travel on the 21 and you come back on the 22. So what, you spend a night, huh? Total for the trip, $110,000. But they are carrying NGC officials, but they cannot name the NGC officials either. NGC officials are paid for by the state. They are public officers in that sense, or contract workers. Why we can't know the names of NGC officials who went? But they spent $110,000. You all hear that? That is what Stuart Young doing. In 1 month, he went 3 times to Venezuela. And March 12 to 16, 2024. Now, before I reach March, February 14 to 15, 2024. Now, that's Valentine's night, for some of you who just follow that. The guy had a night for Valentine's in Venezuela. February 14th, he come back the 15th. I sure 1 or 2 years do that too. February 14th to 15th in Venezuela, the taxpayers pay for Valentine's night $62,000. That's a lot of flowers and chocolate and thing, eh? $62,000 for Valentine's night in 2024 in Venezuela. This fella for real? He want to be prime minister? What you want to do now? Carry more people for Valentine's? March 12, 16, 12 to 16 is how much? 4 days, huh? 2024. He gone with a side $240,000 for 4 days in Venezuela. Brothers and sisters, it goes on and on. The cost here is that we know of is 1.2 million. When you add NGC costs to that and other costs that they will hide, you are dealing with about $2.5 million in travel, for which you don't know who he met. He said everything had to do with energy matters. Everything. We don't know what is that. Who is that? Our technical people will ask those questions. I'm sure the dragon himself will open fire when he gets an account of this to understand what he went to do there, what meeting, what issues he raised, brothers and sisters. So that is where we are. We have the answer. And I want to alert Stuart Young. You could run, but you can't hide. A freedom of information, Saddam. A freedom of information may go to the Ministry of Energy for full details on all this trip that cost almost $2 million between NGC and Ministry of Energy. So that is the point we raised tonight, brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, I will not delay you much longer. I think it's getting late as well. But to tell you that on the highway, I just want to remind some of you, I know some of you may have come down the highway. We got some pictures from the highway, and our brothers and sisters there were appalled. They were appalled, the brothers and sisters there, that, would you believe, the highway, I think one of the fellas who is a candidate for somewhere, said that extension would be completed by Christmas. What Christmas he meant? Christmas when? This year, last year? They went and dig up the road. Do you know they paved a part of that extension and went and dig it up again because they had wrong engineering designs, flawed designs, and the material they used when they test the composition of that material for road was not suitable. And them fellas will be talking about EMBDC and fixing road and thing, you know. They paranoid on EMBDC. Spend $100 million to dig up the road to see if the road good or bad. Rowley and Stuart Young like that, you know. If they see a building standing, they will shake it to find out why it's standing. And if they're looking for $10, they will light up a $100 bill to search for the $10. That's how they just operate, you know. That is the people, and it is Stuart Young, it is Rowley, it is Dial Singh, it is Alwari. It is all of them. All must go. All PNM MPs must go. Brothers and sisters, they must go. So I want to ask you, in closing, brothers and sisters, that we have reached a signal, pivotal moment in our history. We have the plan. We have the program. Mrs. Prasad Bisesa has spoken for I don't know how much years. She has held symposia. She has spoken on policy to deal with crime, to deal with health, to deal with education, to deal with infrastructure, to deal with science and development and every other sector. She has the plans. She is now putting together a team of competent men and women, second to none, to manage the affairs of Trinidad and Tobago. Brothers and sisters, Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisesa managed this country with a degree of decorum. You all ever find out one day in 5 years when she was Prime Minister, if she ever cussed anybody, publicly buff up anybody, ever berate anyone, that she ever conducted herself without class, without decorum, without protocol? She ever conducted herself like Young and what he named Rowley and these kind of people? Never, never. She brought a certain measure of maturity, responsibility, decorum to the office of Prime Minister. Look what they are doing now. Who want to be Prime Minister? Throw up your hand in the air. That's what they are doing now. But the time has come, brothers and sisters. Remember the suffering. Remember the hardships. Remember your children could not get jobs. They are going to take away your pension. And let me tell you something. That was not a mistake. God forbid if Stuart Young comes in there, they will take away the pension of the elderly people. They will take it away. They will increase water rate. They will increase tea and tech rates. Brothers and sisters, we cannot allow that to happen. Brothers and sisters, we cannot allow that to happen. The time is upon us. 10 years is too long. I pray for all of you. We have withheld our, we have held ourselves together. We have managed the worst times. The weeks are coming down. They are drawing to an end. The time is coming. Give us a drumbeat. The time is coming for the general election in Trinidad and Tobago. And the time is coming for citizens to stand up and remove Keith Rowley, remove Stuart Young, remove all of them from power. And I remind you in closing that a vote for any third party is a vote for the People's National Movement, brothers and sisters. Stuart Young is deceptive. He cannot be trusted. He will not commit himself to the rule of law. He will not commit himself to accountability and transparency. Brothers and sisters, remember the tragedies that he presided over. 10 years is much too much. And I call upon you tonight, stay firm. Stand strong with the political leader, with the United National Congress, with all our allies, wherever they may be, and vote resoundingly for the United National Congress. God bless our great party. God bless our leader. God bless you, the great people of Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you. I love you all.